Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. And boy, do we need a cleanup on aisle 46 today. That's why I wore my hat today. Um, Things are going on all over the world, and it's just not looking too great for the US today. But we'll be right back with my buddy, the Public Awakening. We had some great announcements from Veritaseum today, from Reggie Middleton, actually, about Veritaseum. So I'll fill you in on that. Actually happened last night, um, and some other announcements around the world. So be right back after this. Give us a like, share this video. Hey, Public, welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Why, thank you. It's so good to see you too. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. I've been packing and getting everything ready. I'm excited. We're going to have a big weekend in Arizona with Bix Weir and get to see Amy and Josh and Paige. The main squeezes, two of my patrons are going to be there. And I'm really excited about it. Going to meet Westwood out there, and Jenny Moonstone's coming, and dragging my hubby out there. So we're going to be at the Freedom Road Show with Bix and the crew at the Dos Gringos in Mesa, Arizona.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. So
That sounds very cool.
Yeah. We're going to be streaming the happy hour show live. We're taking Thursday off for, the blessed St. Patrick's Day.
I'm still not exactly sure what kind of saint this guy was.
I don't know. You don't have any woo-woo for me on St. Patrick's Day? On St. Patrick's?
I don't think I've ever heard of any that was wooish of that.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I have anything.
I'm
just looking for a quick message that I saw just a little while ago on Pimpy's channel. On Pimpy has Pimpy's investment chat on Facebook.
Oh,
He's got like a separate page with like, I don't know, a whole ton of people. How many people are on here? 23,000 members on this one.
Oh, cool.
He posted a picture. He's wherever he is. He just went somewhere where they were having a big speech, and he was going to try and have a conversation with Robert Kennedy. Yeah. He was going to try and get some clarification on some of the things he said about the nose touching and all that. A lot of you guys will know. And
interesting.
I can't find the picture right now, but literally I just saw it last night, I believe, and he had a picture of a slot machine, and it was literally like the winning screen. And I'm trying to see how much he won. And
he did.
His only comment was, "Yeah, this really happened." And tell me.
Wendell says that that St. Patrick is known for driving the snakes out of Ireland.
Oh, well, hello. The snakes, the serpents, those bad people.
Piqued, you piqued his interest.
Here it is. You want to see this real quick? So
this is
$63,971, and there's the
Pimpy one.
Yes, this really happened. It says.
Well, congratulations,
That's a hell of a slot machine hit. Holy cow!
Goodness.
That's awesome. Yeah, I don't think I ever knew anybody who won that much on slots.
I won $1,000 one time, and we put it all right back in before we left. Which is why I just, when we go to Vegas, like I'll shop and I'll hang out by the pool, but I'm not a gambler.
I used to like to think I would play when I was 21. I really wanted to go to Atlantic City for the longest time. I was like fascinated by how awesome this place was. So when I was 21, I went down for like, because it's a 3.5 hour drive from where I am up here in North Jersey. And, we would go down for a night or 2 nights or something back in the day as kids. And over the course of one summer into the beginning of the fall, I won. And this is like, like a long time ago. And I won like 32 or 3,500 bucks altogether. I just kept saving it. I was only playing roulette. I was playing like red and black. I was playing the outsides, and I won that money. And then we used that to take my ex-wife and I used that to take our first real vacation together as like kids, and we went to Cancun for like 10 days or something and stayed in like the 5-star resort, which I'd like never done before. It was like, it was really cool. But since then I've just been a charity to the to the casinos.
Yes, the casinos.
I can't even
That
get
would
a
be
win.
me.
You know where the worst one was? And I don't want to bash Peoria, but there was that riverboat there that I don't know if you remember. I went in there.
Oh, did you gamble there?
I did. I just wanted to go see it and hang out. It was a boat. I got to go see it. Daniel from Coin Flip was going over, and who else? Somebody else from Coin Flip was going, and met up there for like a couple minutes, and literally
Jonathan.
I lost like Jonathan, yeah. And I literally lost like $300 or $400 in like 20 minutes or 15 minutes. I'm like, I'm out. That's it. And that was really the last time I went. So left me with a bad taste in my mouth.
Let's see.
What do you got? St. Patrick's Day origins. Driving the snakes out. I like that.
History of St. Patrick's Day. The annual, let's see, March 17th, the annual anniversary of his death.
Tomorrow already. I didn't even realize that.
Yes. Thursday, March 17th. The Irish have observed this day is a religious holiday for over 1,000 years on St. Patrick's Day, which falls during the Christian season of Lent. Irish families would traditionally attend the church in the morning and celebrate in the afternoon. Lenten prohibitions against the consumption of meat were waived, and people would dance and drink and feast on the traditional meal of Irish bacon and cabbage. That sounds delicious.
Maybe it's a East Coast thing. I never heard of Irish bacon. The big thing here is everybody has corned beef, really good corned beef. But
corned beef. I just know about green beer. St. Patrick lived during the 5th century, and the patron saint of Ireland is its national apostle. Born in Roman Britain, he was kidnapped and brought to Ireland as a slave at age 16, later escaped, returned to Ireland, and is credited with bringing Christianity to its people. In the centuries following Patrick's death, believed to have been on March 17th, 461, the mythology surrounding his life became ever more ingrained in Irish culture. Perhaps the most well-known legend is that he explained the Holy Trinity using 3 leaves of a native Irish clover, the shamrock. More than 100 St. Patrick's Day parades are held across the United States, blah, blah, blah. New York and Boston are the largest. Okay, blah, blah, blah.
We have a good one here in the town I grew up in. I live about 15 minutes from the town I grew up in. They have a really nice one there. It's all the sports teams, all the local sports teams, the baseball teams, the football teams, the cheerleaders, the band, everyone, all the kids that march up and down the center. There's a little strip. It's maybe, quarter mile, maybe a little more than a quarter mile long. Just a little strip, and everybody lines up. They got all the fire trucks and everything. It's actually like a pretty big for a little town, parade. There's 10,000, nice. 15,000 people in the whole town, and we're very spread out though. It's like 30 something square miles this town, because it's all mountains and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Daddy-O just had the most poignant comment of the day, if you can go find his about the snakes. Okay, it's just up just a little bit. That was a good one. Good job. Way to go, Daddy-O. Well said.
I don't know.
And corned beef and cabbage. Oh, I can't wait to eat that.
Snakes got on a ship and
Yeah.
landed in Washington.
That's funny. See, there's
Corned
got to
beef.
be from what we know about how things work now, and the more we're learning, there's got to be some kind of connection. There's got to be something there to that,
Possibly. I'm not seeing anything about snakes, but I believe Wendell because he's really intelligent. So I'm sure he's gotten
Mhm.
that information from somewhere.
Imagine that,
Um,
though. Imagine, how that driving the snakes out. Is that a metaphor? Is that Bible talk for not meaning exactly what it's saying, but giving you clues about alternative meanings and things like that? Did he drive out some bad people? Did he help change a system or something like that? I don't know.
I don't know. This is interesting. Talking about little people. What do leprechauns have to do with St. Patrick's Day? One of the icons of the Irish holiday is the leprechaun.
Mhm.
The Irish name for these figures of folklore is whatever that word is, meaning small-bodied fellow. Belief in leprechauns probably stems from the Celtic belief in fairies, tiny men and women who can use their magical powers to serve good or evil. In Celtic folk tales, leprechauns were cranky souls responsible for mending the shoes of other fairies. Little people in shoes. That's interesting.
Oh, I missed that. Good catch.
Though only minor figures in Celtic folklore, leprechauns were known for their trickery, which they often used to protect their much fabled treasure. Leprechauns have their own holiday, May 13th, but are also celebrated on St. Patrick's, with many dressing up as the wily fairies. Why would they have their own holiday on May 13th? That's weird. And then it makes me think of Uncle Cliff's, when he did that, he shared through Telegram that he did an interview a long time ago and they altered his voice, which was very weird, but you could tell by his speech pattern it was still him. And he's talking about when his dad was in, I think, either the Korean War
This was
or
Uncle
World
Cliff you're
War
talking
II.
about?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
he was in the Korean War or World War II, and his dad actually got it. He was like awarded or what am I trying to say? Like the military gave him a commendation or something for how he handled it. But so night vision goggles used to be red
Yes. That's a crazy
lenses.
story. Mhm.
Yeah. But with the red, they were able to see like spirits or demons or something.
They
And
picked
so
up a
like,
different spectrum, yeah.
yeah. And the gunner was in the back of the helicopter and started like shooting these things that he was seeing. And so Uncle Cliff's dad went back and was like, "What the hell are you shooting at?" Because there's other helicopters flying with him, and so it caused a problem that this kid. And he said the kid, like, his pupils were dilated and he's like shaking, and he made a comment that it was before the heroin issues or something. But he knew, but that's how
Right.
the kid was like physically responding, was that's how disturbed he was.
Wow.
But that's how terrified he was seeing these things flying around. And so he had them all take off their night vision goggles. And then that's how he got like the commendation or whatever um, I don't know what that's called in the military when you get like
I think you're
acknowledged
right. Yeah, I
for.
think commendations. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. So it's interesting to me that leprechauns. So is this about, if you think about green is the opposite of red, and the shoes and the
Oh, the little
little
people that are
people
on
and the shoes.
another
Yes.
spectrum or dimension or whatever you want to call it.
Is this the opposite of the red shoes? The
Hmm.
green, I don't know. I'm
Very,
stretching it here. It's the
very.
woo-woo Wednesday.
Hey, this is
So,
woo woo. This is where we talk about the
um,
crazy stuff. That's funny.
mhm.
That's amazing. I mean, there's a lot to say about different
Yeah. Oh, and let me
cameras.
finish that thought. I'm
Sure.
sorry. So that's why they then went to the green lens in the night vision goggles, because then you don't see those spirits or demons or whatever that is, when, like they did with the red vision, in the red spectrum of the night vision goggles. So now when you see night vision, it's all in green.
Yes.
So
I have a similar story, sort of, with the first digital cameras that came out in the 90s. Not like the first, but like the first commercial, not commercial, the first ones for us that we could go out and buy, regular retail people to go out and buy, because I'm sure there were better ones. I had one back in the day, and it used to pick up those orbs all the time. And Uncle Cliff, well, I believe it was the same video, Uncle Cliff went into the same kind of thing about how they basically they basically just used the software. He gave a long explanation of how the digital cameras work, and they convert everything into bits and information and ones and zeros, and then it makes a picture from that. So supposedly with the newer cameras, you never see the orbs, you never see a lot of these weird things anymore, because they've basically put it in the software where that stuff just won't show up.
Okay, watch this.
That's crazy. I know.
Did you guys? Can you see this?
I sent you that.
Can you still see this?
I can see it on the little screen here. Let me see. Yes. All right. Yep. Yeah, I can see it. Nice name though, the Awakened Species. I like that, Awakening.
You can see her talking about this right now?
Well, her mouth is still.
So no, you can't see it.
It's not moving on my end.
Hold on. Yeah. Hold on. See, when I start playing it, it won't. Hold on.
There, she's
talking. Now
talking.
Can you see her?
Yes, but I can't hear.
Okay, that's okay. So I'll tell you what it says. Basically, they're going to show you, she's going to show you with her, she's going to show you a camera. He's just holding his iPhone to his face, and then she has a little infrared camera.
Yes.
And what's happening is that his iPhone is taking infrared pictures of his face every about 5 seconds. And then he holds his finger over the camera lens on his iPhone, and it's trying to take a picture of his finger. See how it's just blinking? And then he removes it. And so your iPhone is taking infrared pictures of your face about every 5 seconds.
Facial recognition. Yep, facial recognition. We thought they were just taking that and storing it somewhere, No, it's active. It's active. That's crazy. I heard I heard a little thing from a Chinese guy who moved here from China, and he was explaining it was, I don't know, it was quite a while ago, in the 1990s or something like that, or no, it could have been whatever it was. It was a long time ago, several years ago. And he was talking about the software that was being developed and used at the time for their social, whatever they call it. What's that? The social something, the system where they're going to rate everybody. Social scoring, or the social credit system, whatever it is like that. And he was saying back then, and this was a while ago, they had the cameras everywhere around the towns, everywhere around the cities. And if you rolled through a stop sign or something without stopping, or if you jaywalked, I think his example was jaywalking. And if you jaywalked, it would take a picture of you. And it was so good way back then at doing this. It would immediately not send you a ticket as we think they would do here. It would take the money right out of your account, it was like WeChat or your whatever their other
PayPal
big
or whatever.
payment. Yeah. And it would basically just take it right out without.
Well, remember that's from that movie with Sandra Bullock and the short guy, the Rocky. Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, what one was that? Yeah, he was in the bathroom stall, and they only had seashells to use to finish up business. So he started cursing a lot, and it would spit out little pieces of paper, and then he used that. And then there's
what movie is that? You told me about it.
Yes, I don't remember what that was. And then there was also
something with a D, I think.
The Minority Report. That was a crazy one.
I can't remember.
Let me see. What was the name of that one? That was with
Yes, Daddy-O sounds like a CBDC system. And that's where, so today Zelensky signed cryptocurrency laws into place for Ukraine.
The Demolition Man.
The Demolition Man. I knew it had a
Yeah.
D. Okay. The Demolition Man.
And if you still never seen the Minority Report, anybody who hasn't seen the Minority Report, the Minority Report was put out in 2002. Now you go watch that movie and you tell me that's not exactly what's happening right now. Again, they like that 20-year span. They like to, the 20 years are chunks for some reason, and they like to work in 20-year chunks. But that is absolutely crazy how they target you. It's targeting. It's wherever you go. And this was, I remember watching it when it came out. I'm like, that's crazy. That stuff will never happen. Oh yeah. Well, they gave us this little device in our hands that monitors everything we do, knows who our friends are, knows where we go, knows what we eat for lunch, knows what time we wake up in the morning. It knows everything. It's crazy. So give it a shot if you haven't seen Minority Report in a while. That's a really good thing of what's happening. And there was poison too. There's something about some poison. They got poisoned by a plant or something like that. Crazy.
And then South Korea just voted in a new president, and that president made promises that Bitcoin would be legal tender. So that it's kind of more and more countries are coming on board with Bitcoin being cryptocurrency being legal. So we're seeing it kind of all over. Then this was really interesting, I thought. Notice the patch on this.
I have to wait till the screen gets a little bigger. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? Have you looked at any of those videos yet where they show all the blue and yellow that's been inserted into culture in the last couple of years, and it's really amped it up a lot? Well, the Super Bowl for one, that was covered in blue and yellow. But there's a lot of videos out taken from common television shows, movies, advertising, buildings, all this kind of stuff that's literally yellow and blue. And The Simpsons had a lot of it back in the day.
The Minions are blue and yellow, the little kids things.
Yep.
So is that the next color revolution?
Well, it's what's happening now. I mean, well, think about it. If it's this forecasting, or if it's this pre-programming kind of stuff that we all know has been happening and going on forever. Once you see these things, let's see in your favorite movie, it registers all these subconscious things in your head. So you get used to seeing this color and you never think about it. You never pay attention to it. You never notice it. But then when you see it coming out now on the flag and on all their, slogans, and everyone on the Facebook has, on their profile pictures, all the yellow and blue, it feels more normal. You're much more subconsciously, you're much more accepting of it because you've seen it. You don't remember where, but you've seen it many, many times already. Like they did with, the whole, thing that happened in New York in 2000 and that stuff was foreshadowed since that stuff. They showed cartoons and not actually cartoons, cartoons on television and in the movies, but there was comic books before those two buildings were even erected that showed those two buildings getting hit in the same spot, in the same height comparison to where each one was hit, and then falling down and being on fire. This is just things
really
that
weird.
gets you used to it. You see it 100 times, you see it 5 times, 10 times, whatever it is. When it actually happens, it takes that shock out of you. It takes that, it's, although that event in early 2000s was very traumatic to everybody, but you're more accepting of it, and it's just more programming to let us just, we just let it happen. Let these things happen without the outrage, without the protest. It's it's very, very real. Very, very real.
Very wild. This was disturbing today. Biden was out and out said that Putin was a war criminal. And I thought, what are the consequences of that he's making those kind of statements? I mean, when you're accusing people of things or saying things publicly, putting targets on people, that's really dangerous. There's consequences of things like that,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Big time.
And then, the real issue of people dying, is this drug overdose, reached another high from fentanyl deaths in just 12 months, over 105,000
Wow.
deaths in just 12 months. So
Did you see the one about the West Coast cadets, West Point cadets, all the military kids? They were all enjoying a spring break somewhere. They had an Airbnb. There was like, a bunch of kids, college kids, whatever they're, military academy kids, were all packed into this Airbnb. And all of a sudden, like, I think like it was either like 12 or like 20 of them
the
all
floor
like had some
collapsed or
overdose.
something.
No. They all had
No.
overdoses because somebody had like got a little cocaine. And like, unfortunately, that's one of the things that people who get tested often and with military, armed services, police, all that kind of stuff. That's one of their go-tos because supposedly it's completely out of your system in 3 days. So what they're doing now with this damn fentanyl is they're just putting it in everything. Like they're just putting it in your stuff. Like you're just putting it in. I mean, it doesn't belong there. From what I understand, it's the opposite of what cocaine is. But supposedly they got a little cocaine and these kids were sitting around doing a little bit of cocaine and there was like 20 something overdoses and like they're all going in the hospital. Some of them were like, at last I heard, none of them had gotten out of the hospital.
Wow.
I don't know if you ever looked at the little pictures that they have online about the dose, a lethal dose of pure fentanyl is.
No.
Have you ever seen it?
Mm-mm.
It's literally like 2 grains of salt, not like the coarse rock, like pink salt, like literally 2 little tiny grains of salt. That's an overdose of fentanyl. That's how strong that crap is. It's nasty stuff. I mean, you just need an undetectable amount in something and that's it. You're done. You're done.
That is heartbreaking. Yeah.
Yep.
Have you ever been to this? There was a couple of stories about Jersey in the news. I guess the city in New Jersey has covered up this Putin's name from a memorial that Russia had gifted to the U.S. back in 2005. And I wondered if there was a Q on it because look at these circles on the bottom.
That looks like it's in Jersey City or I would say Jersey City by the look of it. I can look into it. It's only maybe 40 minutes from here, probably 40-minute drive.
I'm just curious. Maybe we could look it up on.
They had a lot of the war memorials, I can't believe I said that. A lot of the 9/11 memorials popped up in the early 2000s all over the place. They took beams, that melted, twisted beams, and they literally stuck them up in the middle of parks, small local parks and everything like that, just as a memory. And they called it the 9/11 memorials. A large portion of them have been taken down now because people just don't want to look at carnage and the actual pieces of a building, where 3,600 people were murdered in. It's a little, and then you can get into the whole thing with that, like.
Right.
The debris was taken away right away. It was taken out to some landfill somewhere. It was cleaned. Supposedly they cleaned it. It was like chemically cleaned.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They literally cleaned each piece and then they instantly shipped it over to overseas to be melted down for scrap.
We know that Giuliani was responsible for that quick cleanup.
Yeah, it was quick. Well, it wasn't that quick. They were digging on that hole for on the mound. I believe they called it the mound or the heap, they called it. And it was, they were digging there for a good 3 months or so. And it turns out now like such a crazy high percentage of people who were working on that. I got these really crazy, rare, nasty cancers that are just wiping you out. A guy I kind of grew up with in my 20s, a fellow police officer. I got a lot of police officers because every cop, young, strong cop wanted to go down there and help dig and look for survivors and do what they can. So a lot of them were donating their time. He spent 2 or 3 weeks down there every day helping to, move the pieces and hand. A lot of it was like a bucket brigade for a while because they didn't want to put machines on and chance crushing people if there was anybody still alive under there. So a lot of it was done hand, in buckets and stuff like that. He's got some crazy, crazy rare cancer now. He finally, after like 15 years or 10 years of fighting to try and get some sort of compensation and coverage for it, he finally got approved to be in one of these programs that at least pays for your, cancer treatments and medical bills. He's on dialysis. He's got, kidney shutdown. He's got liver failure, totally healthy guy otherwise. And it's actually, get this, they only allow you to be a part of that fund once you're in a court of law or a law proven that your disease has come specifically from being in ground zero shortly after.
That's ridiculous.
All the rates of disease within, half a mile around there, any residents, any people who worked in the area. I mean, there's so many people who got sick, nasty, nasty diseases. It's really terrible. It's really terrible.
Yeah, really awful.
3 buildings, 2 planes. Yeah.
Yeah. There was one other Jersey story that I thought was bizarro since everybody's kind of moved on from the great illness, but they, I guess, let go of released more than 800 prison inmates, released in response to the vid. Even though the governor's emergency order was lifted last week. So how do you feel about that?
No, sir. I don't like it.
As somebody who lives in New Jersey, that is bizarre to me.
This stuff is this is not.
That doesn't make sense.
That uncommon. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. These things are not that uncommon in states with a bluer tinge than others. Luckily, New Jersey is not nearly in that respect as bad as New York. Not as bad at all. Bad, don't get me wrong. Compared to the normal world, yeah, it's crazy the stuff that people get away with in a state like this. It's a blue state that acts red, or it's a red state that has blue tendings to it. So it's the only thing that keeps. I think the only thing that keeps New Jersey from completely turning into a blue state is a lot of the wealthier suburbs in the areas where they just won't allow it. They won't allow that voting to go that way. But there's been the last besides this guy that's in here now, a couple of previous guys, even though they were red, they were Republicans, they were rhinos, 100%. So enjoy the show, enjoy the show. You gotta,
it's crazy.
It really is. It really is. We were one of the first states to get the diaper mandates. It was the first one of the states that hit the hardest by work stoppages and all the crazy rules that they put in that businesses had to, follow. I remember when this first started going on, like a couple months into it, every restaurant was shut down. Like they just shut everything down. And then to open back up, they had to build these big outdoor seating areas. And it wasn't just like, putting some seats out on the parking lot. It was like, there was all these codes and rules that they had to follow, regulations that they had to follow. You had to be on a platform that was up, 8 inches off the ground. You had to have the structure had to have a roof. A lot of them were getting like big party tent kind of things, and then
that makes no sense at all. I mean, it has to have a roof, but you want them out in the open.
Does any of this make sense?
No.
No, but you had to.
It's
So yeah,
it's to try to break the independent. It's to try to make it the most expensive thing, to try to break the little guy, try to break down
and they
Main
did.
Street,
They
try to
did.
break down the independent, keep Walmart open, keep, the big box stores open, keep the big guys, the money flowing for them. But
Yep.
how can we break down the small businessman, women, business owner in the United States?
Mom and pop got crushed in New Jersey.
Yeah, that's
Crushed
what
in
they
New Jersey.
wanted to do.
If you were a wealthier company, wealthier people, didn't really affect anybody. Wealthier companies, chain restaurants,
Well,
you
that
did
was the thing I
very well.
noticed with the PPP was the wealthier the company, the more they manipulated the PPP and got millions, got tons of money
Oh yeah,
and got it free or whatever, got it excused.
it was
But then
free.
the little companies had to jump through all these hoops and just got small amounts or didn't get any
Crumbs.
of
Yeah.
got the crumbs. And it was just how is that? I mean, I guess it's the same story, second verse. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It
Same song,
depends on who
second
your
verse kind of
clients
thing.
were. A lot of the landscaping companies down here, a lot of the smaller guys, the companies just disappeared. Smaller companies with 2-3 trucks, they just disappeared. If you're a larger company, like the one I was working for at the time, you got 40-50 trucks, you got a really good accounting staff, you've got really good lawyers, associated with your company. You thrived because
Right.
they generally have a higher end client, a client that's willing to pay more for services on their $3 million house or their $5 million house versus the young couple starting out or the regular people in a $300,000 house or a $400,000 house. You didn't have the money coming in. You were laid off. Your company was shut. So
Right.
it made a big divide on both ends, on clients and customers, and then on the business and the business owners. If you were weller to do beforehand, you're doing quite well right now. You're doing, there's the divide I've seen has been nothing like anything I've ever seen in my life. If you were okay, and if being out of work for a while didn't affect
Break
you,
you.
it
Yeah.
didn't break you, you're doing well. You're
Yeah.
doing pretty good right now.
Well, and now we've had the announcement from Powell that they, did the quarter, what is it? The quarter rate.
Yeah, the rate, I didn't see any of that today. I literally got in like 3 minutes before
I
the
mean,
show.
we've been talking about it for days, so everybody kind of knew it was all coming.
Last I heard, he was gonna take the 1 percentage basis point and was supposed to do like 3 times that or something, right?
Well, over the year or whatever, over the year. So Fed Chair Jerome Powell announces that that they decided to increase the benchmark bank rate by 1/4%.
Okay.
So,
25 basis points, that's not nothing.
right, which we all knew this was coming. So,
Get ready for the squeeze.
mhm.
Get ready for the squeeze. But this is Russia's fault. Do you know how much I paid for gas? I paid $4 and 39 cents.
We paid $4.69 for diesel the other day. A gallon.
Diesel's over $5 in a lot of parts here
Yeah.
right now. But I've only seen gas this high ever, and that was literally during Hurricane Sandy, when the entire state or the entire eastern side of New Jersey was basically just shut down and wiped out because of all the flooding and storms and microbursts and tornadoes and stuff that were going on. And then the whole power was out in the whole area, most of the state, I think, for 2 weeks on a lot of, and sometimes 3 weeks in some cases. So the supply chain broke down. We watched gas go from 2 something at the time to over $5. That was another thing that crushed a lot of businesses. I was working with my father in our family business at the time. And I remember, he's like, our fuel bill was getting high enough. We had several trucks, lots of equipment and everything like that. And now we're paying, I remember one time he's saying, we're paying like $5,000 or $6,000 a month in fuel. And it's like, holy cow, at the time, that was like, that was a lot of money every month. It's more than a lot of mortgages.
Yeah.
And they're just paying that in fuel. And then it came back down, but I don't know. But can you believe that I had to pay that money because of this guy in Russia? That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's all his fault, isn't it?
But
Isn't it all his fault?
No, it's not. We know that.
No.
But this is just what we said,
Yeah.
And like Tom's saying, you can't tell the people, you have to show them, and they're being shown now. And so, give me some of those mean tweets, bring back that $2 gas and or below $2 around here. It was less than $2 a gallon when Trump was tweeting those mean tweets.
Yep.
And we were energy independent.
Yeah, see, that's the thing a lot of people don't know. We were the largest energy producer in the world at that time. We were higher than Venezuela and Saudi Arabia and Russia. We had more oil coming out of the ground here. We were the largest energy producer in the world during that time. People don't say that. You see all these nonsense arguments they're having online about this is I can't believe it, and blaming the guy over there in Russia for all this stuff. They have no idea. They just listen regurgitate the nonsense they say on that stupid box that everybody's addicted to.
Incredible that they are incompetent for thinking for themselves and also remembering. That's the other part of this. I'm like, it was just a year ago, you guys. It's not that long ago, and you can't remember how much you paid for gas and how this is so spun off and in the ditch so fast, and you can't remember that long ago.
Yep.
Like that is incredible to me.
Isn't it?
Year and a half ago.
Well, when you're kept busy, when your mind is kept busy, full of fear, full of doubt, full of confusion, full of hatred, full of just
beer
negative
and games,
thoughts.
or what did they say? Bread and
cake, bread and circus
or whatever. Yes, bread and circus.
Yay. Marie Antoinette, I think. It's not my forte, some of that stuff, but it's crazy. People, it's times.
It's from even before then. It's from like Roman times that saying is from.
Bread and circus, was that Caesar?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I throw around things and then try to get it right sometimes. Nobody knows everything.
You get the gist of it.
I get the gist of it. I get a gist. Yes. But it's crazy. These are times when the people with their heads screwed on right are really looking around going, I'm shocked. I'm shocked every day that so many people I know and that I grew up thinking, and that a few years ago I thought were smart people and had they were like me, I thought.
So here's the other thing. When people are talking about, the price of Bitcoin's not moving, if you look at it in comparison to, Sleepy Joe, clean up on aisle 46, people. Clean up on aisle 46 is needed immediately. He just ordered, so I think yesterday or day before, he wrote a thing giving Ukraine $1 billion with a B. Then today, he wrote another little sweet check on our ass to Ukraine again for $800 million. So almost $2 billion to Ukraine for support. Apparently, we're writing child support checks to Ukraine for support. Almost $2 billion. So that is devaluing the US dollar every time they do that. So if you look at that in comparison to Bitcoin's price is going up, is what I'm trying to say. Because the longer you hold on to your Bitcoin, it's becoming more and more valuable. Because I'm telling you, those dollars have not even hit in comparison.
No.
That printer hasn't turned on yet. He's signing that, like he's writing checks that our butts can't cash.
Yep.
And that is going to hit and just take off.
Let me ask you a serious question. How much of that almost $2 billion do you think is actually going to make it down to the people on the street who really need it? I
Oh,
wonder, I
no.
wonder how much of
It's
that
all going
Hunter's
to
going to
be
get.
military contracts. It's going to go into,
If it even gets that far, the
yeah, it'll
middlemen
all
come
be,
before the military.
yes.
You know,
Well,
they're
that's what
the
I'm saying. It'll be contracts,
yeah, yeah. It's
you know.
payoffs, bribes.
Mhm.
It's I
Mercenaries. Like I was talking to Sean about how our favorite little Mexican food place, the gangsters are missing now from it, and
right.
and the owner said that, oh yeah, they went to go fight in Ukraine, and I'm like, Mexican Ukrainians, why are they going to Mexico to fight,
Huh.
or
Doesn't
to
even make
Ukraine
sense.
to fight? That doesn't make sense.
Doesn't even
And
make
so
sense.
I was like, two schools of thought there. Either one, they are being paid. Well, both scenarios, I'm sure they're being paid, but either one, they're being paid to go fight for Ukraine, or two, the good guys did some kind of sweep and told them you're going to get paid, but then they really rounded them up and are deporting their butts
Right.
because they're probably really
I
MS-13 or something.
yeah. That I mean, what a great roundup that would be. Who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
the- I wonder if they ever actually made good on that when Sleepy Joe said every person that comes in and that got arrested is going to get like 400 and something $1,000. Remember that was going
Oh,
around for a
yeah.
while.
That
Oh,
was a
see,
rumor.
like we just stopped talking about it. Doesn't mean it went away. You think people are actually getting that? I mean, who
The
would know?
illegals that were coming in were
Who
supposed to
would
get,
know? Yeah,
yeah,
who would know?
$400,000 and
Each.
free lawyers and
Each. And
all
if
kinds of
you
stuff.
come in with a family of four, you're an instant millionaire just for walking into the country.
The other thing that was really weird that happened today, my daughter was filing her taxes and she sent us a screenshot. She had a question, and they are now offering a thing. And I don't know if it was just for state of Oklahoma or if some other people have tried to file online. And they're like offering where they'll save a copy of your taxes for you online. I was like, that's a little creepy.
That's weird, but if you use TurboTax or any one of those services, online services, if you do your own
Do they
taxes,
do that?
it's saved. Yeah. So like if you use TurboTax, I've used it myself a couple times in the past. If you use it and then you go to file in next year and it says, oh, you did this last year, and it'll hold a side by side of what you filed last year, line itemized. So I don't know if that's
Hmm.
I don't know why they would be making a thing about it now. I don't know. That's
Okay.
weird. So I was just reading the chat. Nancy, Phil, and Jay Rocco said it was over 14 billion, not 2 billion.
Oh, okay.
Said there was an initial, I believe Jay Rocco said there was an initial 14 billion and then 1+1 after that or something like that. Yeah, H&R, Sam Storm said H&R Block, all those. Everyone has online stuff now. If you don't need an accountant for your stuff,
That's why I use an accountant,
yeah,
and a lawyer.
you are well served if you pay a few $100s to an accountant these days.
Okay, I just had somebody send me something. Oklahoma cities and state agencies are pushing back against Oklahoma open records law. Government agencies have argued that large, complicated records requests are disruptive and could impact economic development.
Oh my God! Oh no!
They don't want open records.
So you don't get your privacy because it could inconvenience you.
Mm-hmm. Former city manager was sentenced to more than 4 years in prison for
What is this? Another
embezzling.
pronoun thing? We can't
Mm-hmm.
we can't we can't inconvenience people. We can't hurt their feelings. I don't know.
And so now they started submitting for open records requests, and now they're saying, the city clerk's saying that they don't want to have these open record requests because can be a harassment to the city.
So now
Wow.
asking the city to do its job that it's supposed to do is now harassing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, City, would you mind providing these records that you said you wouldn't? No, you're harassing me.
Yes, you're
I need
harassing
my
me.
safe place.
Wow.
Crazy, right? So we got the pronouns now. We got harassing. If somebody says they're going
So
to give
I'm
you something
supposed to
and do
give
something,
them money and pay them my taxes, but then I'm harassing them if I ask to see the records of where my money is spent.
mhm,
Is that what they're saying?
yeah, sounds like it.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Holy cow.
So I'm gonna play the pronoun game from now on.
Holy cow, Jay. That is insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. What was passed in 1.5? Yeah.
But so when, Uncle Cliff talked about that a lot of people weren't going to file taxes this year. And I wonder if it's because of that issue. If they're like, how much money are you sending to Ukraine? Why am I paying all this money in if it's going to people in Ukraine and I didn't vote for that? Why aren't we taking care of our veterans? Why aren't we taking care of people over here that lost their homes or lost their jobs from the vid?
Because there's a war against the regular person now. It's
No, the
crazy.
war's over in Ukraine. That's what they're worried about. They're not worried about the regular person over here.
Yeah, so it's like there's a war going here right now over all this stuff, but they're going to go, no war here. War's over there on the other side of the world. Go pay attention to that. Going to get my blue flag and my yellow, and I'm going to, the same people. It's so aggravating.
Mm-hmm.
So aggravating that, the little bit I do get to see on social media these days, everybody's these people with these profile pictures with the you used to have the I've been jabbed around their face on their pics, and now it's I stand with Ukraine, right? Where were you standing with your own country? Where were you standing with your fellow
Standing with
Americans?
your neighbor? Yeah.
Where were you standing with? You don't even know your neighbor. You don't even know the problems that are going on around here, but you're standing with Ukraine because the stupid box told you.
They
Honestly,
didn't even
they
know
should just be
Ukraine
ashamed.
was they probably couldn't even pick out Ukraine on a map.
Nope. Well, now they know it's right by Russia, so there's a
They
guess.
still probably don't even know where Russia is.
You're right. You're probably right.
I
Is it shaped like a boot?
I do want to share this information. We had some really exciting news in the very Dow. Reggie
Was it
actually
very
announced.
exciting?
It was very exciting. Reggie
Very
actually announced this. He jumped in at the end of our Dow meeting and said that he was going to make this announcement, and he let us release it through the Dow Twitter. And Jeff and I did our first interview with Reggie, and they're editing it this week, and we'll start releasing it in little blips next week, and then they'll do the full episode over next weekend. And it's really cool. We talk about Reggie's history and then the history of Veritaseum. But so he made an announcement that he is going to allow Veri tokens to be used as a discount for the Veritaseum IP. And so that will bring significant utility and value to the Veri token. So that's pretty exciting news for any Veritaseum token holders.
Very cool.
Very cool. Very exciting.
So he's going to be the wealthiest guy in crypto at some point, and that should be. I would vote for that. Like, yes, make Reggie Middleton like the biggest dog in crypto, because he would do the best with it. Like, it would just
amazing guy.
It would be real trickle down. It would be, everyone would get lifted up when that boat rises.
Yeah, he's really looking out for individuals and cares about people and their intellectual property, and really wants them, like, when you talk about the bet on Main Street idea and the individual guy, like, he wants it to be an even playing field. He wants, like, I can't remember his exact quote, but he was talking about, like, he wants, the lady in Africa that invented something to have just as much of a fighting chance to play in an open market and win than the biggest tech company that comes up with an idea of something,
Right.
or, whatever. So really wants that even playing field for everyone and not having these monopolies come in. And he was talking about this whole Bitcoin Defense Fund and COPA and what a scam it is, and how they're trying to get people to basically give up their own IP and they're tricking everybody, talking about open source. Oh, leave it open source and give up your IP and just pool it together so that we can live in this world together. Well, then they're coming in and basically like monopolizing it.
They're the robber barons. They're the digital robber barons doing that.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly. That's what he talked about. Yeah.
that's crazy. That's
Yep.
but is that, I mean, really, I think a lot of the same people, that we're speaking about here would fall for that in a second. They give up your IP.
Mhm.
They've already given up their DNA. They've already given up their
Right.
freedoms. I mean, what do you think they do with that DNA when they collect it? Do you think they just throw your little tube of spit out when you're done? No, it's cataloged. Everything is
Yeah.
used. I don't know if you've seen give up your IPs. So what? You already gave up your DNA. You already gave up your rights. You already gave up your freedoms. You've already given up yourself. Now they're just going to come to get all the other stuff that self has accumulated.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is really crazy. But there is hope, and there are people like Reggie Middleton doing the right things. I mean, when we interviewed him, he had been up for, I think, more than 24 hours, possibly more than that, and had literally had 45 minutes of sleep.
Ugh.
And because he's fighting stuff in Japan, because he has patents in Japan and the US, and he's filed for other countries as well that he's in the process of getting approved. Then he's fighting this stuff, these people trying to steal his IP all over the world, and it's crazy.
They've stole everything from him already, and
I know.
now he's got some juice behind him. I want to say he's got the law on his side, but what does that mean?
Yeah.
It's the same law that ruined it all for him, or tried to ruin it all for him from the beginning. I don't know. It's a tide turning. I really hope he succeeds in everything he's doing. Plus, I just love hearing his voice. He's got such a distinguished voice. It makes me want to sit there and pay attention. And he just sounds wiser. He just sounds, with that voice. He should be like a cross between a voiceover guy and like Barry White. It's like
he does have that. Who is that guy that has the that does all the voiceovers?
Reggie's got a better voice than that.
I'll give him your suggestion if he wants a backup job.
Hey, if he ever wants a side job, if he's not a quadrillionaire enough, do some voiceover work.
He needs a side gig.
Tell my kids dial Uncle Reggie for a bedtime story with Uncle Reggie to your kids. It'd be like, well, kids, he's got such a distinguished voice. I'd be like, knock the kids out early.
I'll tell him bedtime stories with Reggie.
There you go.
That's hilarious. He'll think that's funny.
I bet it would work. Oh, Morgan Freeman. Yeah, Phil says
Morgan Freeman. That's who I was thinking.
Yeah, but better. Reggie's better, like all the way around.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, he's brilliant. That's too funny. All right. Well, thank you so much. And everybody have a great and safe St. Patrick's Day. Watch out for those snakes.
And watch out for the green beer. It's no good for your belly. Bad things happen shortly after. Oof, I can't stomach that stuff.
Yeah, I'll stick with my Tito's.
There you go. Like Tito's and green aha.
And I'll find. I don't think they make green aha. It's just, it's pretty good for you. It's not too much junk in there. So,
no.
All right. Well, you guys take care, and I will see you on the road to Ruta. Take care. Bye.